a fresh episode of Not So Christian Brothers. Of course, we're always telling you like, subscribe, share the podcast, comment, get involved in the podcast. And I'm so happy to say on this Thursday of Thursdays, Colm Hayes has returned to the rightful seat he should have been in. There was a
Hey.
lot of women in those seats. That sounded extreme.
Yeah.
But he's back with his brother Justin Caffrey for Not So Christian Brothers, and of course has been through the mill, and it is his story to tell. Welcome, guys.
Yeah. Firstly, I have to say I love the curtains. It's a lovely sound now in here, isn't there?
Isn't it?
Yeah, I
It's
know. I
quite
really
different.
like it. Yeah. It's been.
So before we get into too much detail about you,
Yeah.
anybody who wants to contact us to use the studio, please do.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Before we get into your
That's good. That's good.
quick bit of opportunity.
That's
for
why we're here.
promotional money.
For many reasons.
Same parents, different timelines, and united by chaos. Strap in for the Not So Christian Brothers.
Yeah, I know you were talking last week about Anne we were talking during the week about mental health as well and men's mental health. And I think, when you lose your life partner, and we were married for 35 years, it was the day after our 35th anniversary that she passed. That you've challenging mental health, you really do. I think I was saying it that there's so we had 6 years together, which were amazing. 2 years, which were really, really tough. 6 days, which I knew what was happening. And you have sort of in your head a way that you're preparing yourself for this moment. And I can't imagine what it must be like if you suddenly lose somebody. It must be unbelievable. But anyway, it's still, look, there's no way that whatever you playbook you think you have, and whatever way you think you've armored yourself, and whatever way you think you're ready for this, when it happens, everything flies out the window. Absolutely everything. And you are left standing bare naked emotionally with no idea how to act, react, live, laugh, cry, whatever. The tiniest things trigger you. And I was saying that the only other time that it's like that in life is when Alex was born, and on the way up to Alex being born, you're painting the room blue, you're getting all this stuff together, you're talking to the lads who had kids, and you're saying, okay, this will be great, and we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll do this. Baby arrives, and it's like you're standing there emotionally bare and naked again, because your life is never the same. But it's interesting that is birth and that is death. And those two things really, are times which is interesting and good. There are times that you cannot prepare for them. You cannot prepare for this at all. I mean, even now, I'm being honest, and I've said this to many people. Even now, my phone is there or wherever it is, and I'm still sort of waiting for Anne to ring and say, will you pick me up from the airport? Where are you? Doing one of those stupid podcasts again, because you can't wipe that,
No.
and it doesn't fade either. It doesn't at this stage. It's only a couple of weeks. It doesn't fade. So it's how you, and look, the strength of friends around, and you just were absolutely amazing in the hospital every single day, and family, and just. That is so important. I often wondered before, is the kindness of the strangers and messages, does that really mean anything to you? It really, really does. It actually balances you. It places you, and you're always going, my God, if Anne could hear these messages now, if Anne knew how much she was loved, but she did know she was loved, but by people on the radio who she's a character on the show. We talk about our lives on air, so she is a character on the show. People know how Anne would give out to me, or where she's been, or she's off in Australia, or stuff like that. I spoke about a cancer on the show, so they're very aware of it, and just the kindness of strangers is just immeasurable. It really is. There was one occasion on this with our dog Stitch. So when we were in the hospital, obviously, the last thing you're thinking of is your dog, and then you're thinking, well, we need to get him out of the house, or he's going to, damage the place. And we got onto the kennels, and they just said, look, don't even worry about it. We're coming down the kennels from 40 miles away. We're coming down in our car to pick him up from your house. And they did. And they said, look, as long as he's here, it doesn't matter. And then after 2.5 weeks, I said to them, look, we're going to come up and I'll get Stitch. And when I arrived at the gate, Stitch came down and her husband was there. And I said, look, there's the money thank you so much for what you did. And there's a little bit extra because you went out of your way. And he looked at me and he went, we're not taking your money. What do you think we are? Who do you think we are? We're not going to take your money. Just don't even think about it. And I hugged him and I cried because it was just that moment, that amazing moment that people, you know, I was sitting on a bench last week in the park, having a coffee with Lucy, and a woman just passed by, came back, just touched me on the shoulder, and said, "Look, I saw your wife's podcast. It was amazing. I'm so sorry for your loss. I'll leave you," and walked off. And it's that. And then the stuff, messages coming in when you go back on air, it's brilliant. It's amazing, and it helps. It really, really helps. It really, really helps you get through it. And I can't imagine how somebody who possibly comes from a very small family or whatever where they are, or distant or something, and there's just 2 or 3 people, I cannot imagine how they could deal with this, because I have given so much to other people to help me back, you know what I mean? To funnel it back in, you know that. You know, and that has been brilliant. Amazing.
Nice. And that woman who tapped you on the shoulder, did you let her know about our podcast?
As she walked past, I did say,
Oh,
yeah, Not So Christian Brothers.
Yeah.
But I didn't say it was a podcast. I just said it like it was a phrase, like, thank you very much. I don't say that anymore. I just go, Not So Christian Brothers. And it's become a thing now.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
So-
I know.
You know that podcast has been entered into awards. I didn't want to tell you that.
Which one?
The podcast with Anne.
Oh, has it? Oh, okay. Wow. No, that'd be.
What about
Did
your
Brit-
podcast?
Didn't feel like it was time to tell you that
Yeah,
last week, but
yeah.
I think that would be quite incredible if it.
And that was like, even that in herself, Anne was so private about it, what we were going through, and all the time we didn't speak much about it on air. And then she wanted then to address it in her life, because I think she felt she knew what was happening. And then, you know, doing the podcast was amazing, and then the 40-day challenge where she wanted me to speak about it and that, and then speak about it on air, and then it became a thing because listeners were always asking, how's Anne, you know. So yeah, it became a thing. And also I think it's really interesting is the way different people deal with it as well, because I'm watching Holly and I'm watching Alex, and the way they're dealing with. Holly's 25, Alex is 31. How differently they are dealing with it emotionally. They've never known life without Anne in it. I've had a life with Anne, and I've had a life with Anne and the kids, you know. And somebody said to me, what do you miss most? And I said, I don't miss the last 2 years. I don't miss them at all, because it was becoming really difficult for Anne, really difficult. And while you keep a cheery face, and she never complained, you get a sense that you're going through doors that you'll never be able to go back. But what I miss most is probably the first year, this might sound bizarre, the first year that Anne had cancer, and the diagnosis that it was stage 4 cancer, and what we put into our life, and put into our relationship, and put into our conversations, and put into being together. I think we put more in those 2 years than probably the previous 15 years, because you always think we won't do that now. So we can do that next year. We won't buy that now. We'll buy that couch next year, you know. But when you're in that situation where you know the clock is counting down, you put so much into it. You really do. And that first year, yeah, that's probably what I miss most.
It's kind of bizarre though, isn't it, really, that in some ways it can be a blessing to know that you're going to die. Obviously, you know, that's an incredibly tainted
Mm.
blessing. But when you then have that accelerated view of how little time you have and how much you need to consume,
Mm.
it changes exponentially how you live your life, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we counted it up and traveled to 24 places. So take off COVID, which is 2 years. So in the space of 4 years, she traveled 24 places, 24 holidays, 6 times a year she was going away. I mean, she went to Palm Springs. You know, Anne would never have gone to Palm Springs. You know, it would have been just too hot for her in the desert. But she just went, I'm going to Palm Springs. I mean, she flew across to see her friend Liz in Australia, which again we'd sort of been planning and putting off and putting off and putting off, and she just went, "No, I'm going to Australia," and she went to Australia. You know, went to Morocco. You know, just it was like, as I said, you know, and this is what I said was that there was always 2 cases in our house packed. One was for the hospital, and one was for the holiday, and they were always there. You know.
And I think it's like it's also interesting too, isn't it, that you know when people go through grief, and a lot of people obviously inevitably lose parents,
Yeah.
and a lot of the time you are lucky enough to know that their decline is happening, right?
Mm.
So it's less rare nowadays that people can drop dead of heart attacks than
Yeah.
it was when we were kids, right? I
Yeah.
remember our father's brother, Bill Caffrey, dropped dead of a heart attack, right? You know,
In his
whereas,
sandwich.
yeah,
Face down into a sandwich.
face down into a sandwich.
Yeah.
And I think the reality of how we live now is that most of us are having tests with cardiologists.
And also, I stopped eating sandwiches. I
Correct.
think it was the sandwich.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're right. We are. There is, and even like even the fact that Janice, her oncologist, amazing woman, was able to say, "Look, I can say safely we'll get you through 3 years," and you know that's medical science is saying that we can get you safely through 3 years, and after that, you know, it's a lot to do with your immune system, how you react to the various chemos, and so she got a lot of extra time, you know, and got a lot of extra time, which was absolutely amazing. And I think, you know, I would always, she was always full of hope, and I was full of hope with her, and you always were there, full of hope. And then, you know, the last couple of years she was in bed a lot, or she was just upstairs a lot, and then I had to come downstairs and try to fill myself up with hope, you know, or try to deal with. Uh, because it's emotionally draining. I mean, I can only imagine how drained she was emotionally when this is playing out. She's the main character. I'm just the co-star in that.
Like
in-
our podcast,
in
really.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but you know, it's really elevating and cathartic to talk about her as well now. You know, it really is, because the, up to the 2 years before, it was like, yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, no, she's getting on well. Yeah, no, it's a bit hard. Yeah, no, it'll be, you know what I mean? Uh, um, it's a thing that we did 2 weeks ago. We can now actually celebrate her life, and that's what we're saying in the house. And I'm saying that to Holly and Alex. We're not leaving Anne anywhere. She's with us. We're carrying her all the way. And Holly was having a little bit of difficulty there a couple of days ago, and I was saying to her, "What would Anne say to you now? What would Mum say to you?" She goes, I can't. No, no. Channel Mum. What would Mum say to you now to do? And she said, well, yeah, oh yeah, I sort of, yeah, she'd just tell me to go and make that call or do that. And I went, well, let's do that, you know, all our lives. What would Anne say, you know? What would Anne do?
Like, what would Jesus do? Do you remember the wristbands? Remember the wristbands we all wore in school? What would Jesus say?
Yeah, exactly.
thing.
Yeah. Do you know what I miss most? I missed her. I miss her presence.
Mhm.
And you see that, you feel that in the house when you walk in. You miss her presence. Is still all around, but it's not presence, you
Yeah.
know, and you
Yeah,
miss that
it's the
presence.
memory of
Yeah.
the person.
It's funny. Holly was on to me going, "Oh my God, what can I do now? I've ripped my trousers on the seam. Mum would always sew them," and I went, "I can sew." And she went, "No, you can't." I said, "I can sew. I don't tell many people this, but I got a sewing badge in Scouts."
That's what I told you, that he was a bit of a nerd when we were growing up. Yeah.
Before you came in, we decided you were homosexual and a nerd because you were very good at tennis, because I'm playing paddle with Justin's good wife
Ah,
Beatrice.
okay.
And he said, yeah, you'd be very good at that too.
Yeah,
Not that
yeah.
we're ever discriminatory, but apparently you were that guy.
Okay, so guys who like tennis are homosexual.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
This is feeling a bit like the Ryder Cup here.
It's
You
a
know,
really PC
ethnic
podcast.
preferences.
I love tennis, right? But it's just a very good way for me to discriminate against anybody else who's good at a sport that I'm completely useless at. I like watching it, but not
Right.
But I
participating.
love how Beatrice loves you so much that she said Justin would be very good at this. Quote.
But I thought the funny thing about the sewing, and I can sew. I'm not a great sewer, but I can sew. And it's funny, but the thing in my head was that you know, Anne is saying to me, "You need to step in now." Now, Holly's very lucky that her aunt Tara is her godmother is so good to her, and will be there for the female moments, you know. But I can also hear Anne saying, like, you got to step in here now. Because they were saying to me, Holly was going, who am I going to go to now when I need that 50 quid? Because I'd always go to Anne at Mum and she'd always just give me the 50 quid. And I'd say to Holly, but you know that was my 50 quid. You just went through, you know, Anne was the teller, you know, I am the vault.
Yeah.
So I said, look, there will be no, you know, you'll just get the 50 quid.
And
Stop now.
and she can be grieving daughter for many years. to
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. Play that card.
That will
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
with the explanation of
Yeah,
cash.
I know.
But conscious that you're the grieving husband here, but you completely interrupted my earlier
Sorry.
a hugely important moment that
Things
I
don't change.
podcast too.
Yeah.
But I think going back to what you were saying about the preparation side of knowing that somebody's going to die, where I was making the great comment about her uncle who died face down into a sandwich.
BLT.
And we both all, stopped. Never a sandwich had again in the Caffrey household. But when you think about that, isn't it funny though that even though you know that it's coming and you had the 6 days in Vincent's which was like an extraordinary thing to witness in terms of the intensity of the whole experience for you, for Alex, for Holly, and for everybody who was there. I mean, my God, we basically took over the hospital.
Camped there for 6 days, yeah.
But then when death happens, you're never prepared.
No.
Like, even though you know it's coming, you're never ever prepared either.
No. There's nothing. And to the staff who are absolutely amazing, right to the very last minute. And I was sleeping in one of the day rooms when the moment came, and they banged at the door at 5 a.m. and we all rushed down. And then you start at that moment, you're just numb. There's just nothing. I mean, I walked out because I just walked down the corridor and it wasn't that I wanted to cry because I didn't cry, and it wasn't. I just felt nothing, numb, because your body, it's in shock. Actually, it's shock. So your body can't take it in. You need to process it, and you just look. I'm still here, as I said. I'm still waiting for Anne to ring. And maybe in some ways you'll always. I mean, I thought I heard her voice in the house the other day. I was napping and I heard somebody going, Colm, and it was her voice. But it was in my head, obviously, but the sound was right. The way I would hear it from downstairs was right. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was just, oh my God. So I don't know the grieving process. I don't even, and I mean, this is for everybody who's close to Anne and her family in particular, and Alex and Holly. I don't know if the grieving has even begun. I don't know. I really don't know.
But I also think, the whole idea of it being a process, and if you look at it, like the psychology and the studies of this, it's kind of nonsense to put it into a process, because it's also so extraordinarily personal, right? Like, it really is how you manage something based on all of your experiences up until that moment. So every human being has had different experiences all the way through their life. So for you, for Holly, for Alex, it's completely different. For Holly and Alex, it's completely different,
Yeah.
because generationally, they were born at different points of your lives.
Yeah,
right.
and gender as well.
And gender.
yeah.
So all these things come into play, and if you think about the the reality of what you're facing, I think from our podcast perspective, and from the point of view of why we created this podcast in particular, was to kind of create a view for men's
Yeah.
kind of a lens for men to see through their life. And it was funny at Anne's funeral, I was talking to our niece's
Mm.
husband, Avika, and he is 35, 36,
yeah.
something like that, right in the age group that we're trying to kind of speak to, and him and his insight as to how we speak was really impressive to me. And it also then made me think, so much of what you're going through, if you're comfortable with it, is really helpful, I think, for other people, because it's not just grief, it's how men process emotions. Like, so much of the problems in the world right now are down to unprocessed emotions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, again, from doing many things mental health wise, cycling and suicide, and training for the ISPCC and being a call taker and that, you get to unravel your own emotions and understand your own. And as you said to me, very soon I am going to therapy. And the last 3 times I went to therapy, it was just nonsense.
No,
From my side.
you were an idiot.
No, that's
Yes.
what it was. No, not necessarily. I was an intellectual idiot. Where I challenged,
That's also known as a smart fool.
where I challenged them. But anyway, but this is different because I don't think I felt therapy before was a challenge to prove
God.
something. I know, but that's like, and I was wrong, completely wrong. And this time I need to be.
Well, I'm watching a TV show called Wayward.
Oh,
You start watching it?
obsessed.
So good.
Scary, though. I find it scary.
It
when
is a bit scary, but I think it's
it's
cool.
fun.
And also, like, I was a bit of a kind of a wild kid at times, and you kind of see this. And by the way, this show Wayward.
Oh yeah, just it was wild. Often he'd stay up till like 10:30
He played tennis.
in his boxers without a tennis racket.
Tony Collette is amazing.
But the interesting thing about
love
that
Tony
show
Collette.
is
Yeah.
that those companies exist in the UK,
Mhm.
where they come in the night and kidnap
No, and America.
your
just
errant teenager
Oh wow,
and then take them away
Yeah.
to like a
boot camp type thing.
Yes.
Paris Hilton spoke out about it. Remember, she said she was so damaged from one of those places that it was sexual and physical abuse. Yeah, that's
But I
amazing.
was watching this kid,
Yeah.
right? Who's the
Protagonist, the blonde.
blonde.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's
Kind of-
great, right?
Yeah.
Love her. But she is basically just raging against her therapist. It's like, fuck you, therapist. And I thought, that's you.
She's hot though, Colm. She's hot, so take it.
Okay, so when I was raging against the therapist before, I just felt other people were telling me I needed therapy, and I didn't believe I did. I'm telling me now I need therapy
Why do you need therapy now?
because I need to unravel everything that I have that's gone on in the last 35 years, in the last 6 years, in the last 2 years, in the 6 days. I don't know how I feel when I'm on my own. I am okay in the company of other people. But there was one day when I was out in Sandymount and I was on my own. I was in the hospital and I had to ring my 2 kids and I just said, please get here now. And they were going, "Are you okay?" I said, I need somebody beside me now. Not that I was going to do anything stupid, or not that I'm not talking like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I was unraveling emotionally, and I just needed somebody beside me. And I think that's part that is. I know when I'm on my own at the moment, I'm very vulnerable
And I think-
emotionally. That's all I'm saying, emotionally, and I'm lucky to have such a group of people that I can just pick up the phone and talk to. And I think I need to. I loved being on my own. I love being on my own. I spent a lot of time. In
Yeah,
fairness,
I was going to say.
yeah, in the last couple of years, I spent a lot of time on my own. But Anne would be in the house, but I was on my own. She was upstairs. I'm just I just need to unravel all this. I just need to get it all out to a therapist. I need therapy. Previous to that, people said to me, "You need therapy," and I disagree with them.
Oh,
I know I need therapy.
I
I'm
agree.
ready.
I think as well. It's look, it's only kind of when the student is ready, then the teacher arrives, kind of thing,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So I think when you're ready, it's the time to go.
The student previously was dossing.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's fine, right?
Mm.
That's also living, and I think the the idea of the intimacy of our own thoughts are where the big challenges arrive, right?
Mm.
It's hard for us to do that, and I often think like we live now in a society where people don't even go to the bathroom and sit on the toilet for 10 minutes having a poo without being connected to the internet.
Yeah.
So there's actually very few times where you actually have solace,
Yeah.
silence,
Yeah.
stillness, and so that becomes almost an antagonist to how we think we're supposed to live. So
I've sat outside in the last couple of weeks, in the last week, on my own, smoking a cigarette. I'll get rid of them soon. Doom scrolling on TikTok, and because I don't want to be on my own.
But
And
hang on.
this is really interesting. I'm doom scrolling on my own, and the happy stuff is not good enough for me. The stuff that's feeding me is the angry stuff. And I'm going into my head, stop this column. But it's the guy that's going, Ireland is full, or that sort of stuff. And I'm going, oh, is it? Is it? It's not. Stop it. I can see. But happy things like, here's how to bake a pavlova. I'm going, no, I want anger now because I'm angry inside.
mm,
And I'm just wondering, is that sometimes the way, if you're not able to deal with that, that's how you get your anger fueled from people on TikTok, and then
yeah,
you go,
well,
I'll join your anger and my anger together will change the world. Let's shout at Rory McIlroy's wife and throw a bottle at her.
and I think in large degrees that's. I mean, if I think back to the genesis of this idea as a podcast,
Yeah,
that was very much part of our thinking. It's like if we don't create the space for men to process their emotions, they
Yeah.
tend to lash out, right? And they become, segregated and segmented into sex and society and all that kind of stuff. And I think if we look at your journey and what you're partaking and sharing very kindly with everybody here, it's in stark contrast to what I did. So I made a complete balls of my grief, and then the consequences were pretty catastrophic over the next few years. So I also feel really lucky that I I I've been where you are,
Mm.
and I made a complete mess of it. And it means then that I can help you and hold you with some level of accountability.
Mm.
But it also means that I think from a show perspective and from a podcast perspective, if you feel it's a space that you're comfortable in, that we can check in and say, you know, where you at? Where's the journey? Because it's gonna be like a Richter
Oh,
scale of
you've
emotions.
no idea. I mean, you've no idea. It's the tiniest little things, like, as I said to you, that trigger you. It's not the big things. It's not like seeing a picture of Anne and me being really happy on our wedding day, or it's somebody touching you on the shoulder that you don't know, and it was in the shop when Rachel in the shop turned around to me and go, "Oh God, Colm, I'm so sorry. Listen, I know I haven't seen you in the shop in a while." It's the little things that trigger you, and I know they're little. They're on the way. They're on the way. So it's. I don't know. I mean, I could make a balls of this as well. I don't think I will, but I could.
But it'd make it for a good podcast if you do.
Oh right, okay, yeah. I
You go
see where you're coming
unraveling.
from. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We could call it the balls up.
Be a
Yeah.
good Netflix show if it's bad.
Netflix, yeah.
Catastrophic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's gonna be, and see the journey of grief. You carry grief with you. You know this, but you still have to continue. I'm still on radio, and I was on radio the last couple of days. And as I said to people said, "How are you able to get on radio?" And I say, "When the red light goes on, you're an actor. I know it's your life, and you bring all the characters and the players in your life in, but you're still technically sort of acting.
But aren't we just really technically acting all the time anyway?
Yes,
right?
we are, as Shakespeare
Life-
says. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like it really is Shakespeare.
Life is a
right?
stage. Yeah.
And then it's like those moments of absolute sobriety where you sit on your own with your thoughts, and that's the place where you try to get through it all.
You're right. Probably the only time we're not an actor is when we don't have our phone with us and we're sitting on the toilet having a poo for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or it's when I'm sitting in the study.
20 minutes, you need more fiber.
This is
Sit-
a male perspective of act. I mean, honest.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, can I just say I was butting in? Sorry, Colm, I know you don't like being interrupted, but I was actually just going to say there's such a rhetoric on doom scrolling. Everyone's like, doom scrolling, it's so bad. Some research has been done on the fact that it's actually okay to do innocuous scrolling, and sometimes we do it and we're in it because it's just this other kind of way of expressing or creativity, or like there's this whole thing about like it's so dangerous and like being sometimes we just do it and it's not the end of the world.
But I know consciously the stuff that I was enjoying was the angry
fair
people
enough, fair enough.
and the angry, I'll be honest, the angry far righters. Not that I'm going off to join them, but they were making me angry, and I wanted to express my anger about what happened to me. So angry people, I was getting angry at them, and then I had to sit back and go, this is ridiculous, Colm. Like, you know, you don't have to be angry at angry people because that's just going to create more anger. So just stop, go back to having the recipe about the pavlova, and go to your therapist and talk to people who help.
And in fairness, you know, we're very much open to people on the far right, the far left, or the middle.
Yeah.
Being part of this podcast.
Far East,
Far East, Far West.
the North, South.
But most importantly, if you can join us and like, subscribe, and follow,
Yeah.
we would really appreciate it. And I think this conversation will go on.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Well,
hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Podcast.
Mhm.
And you know, maybe we'll unpack it a bit more in terms of getting some more insight onto it in the after show.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome
Thanks for
back.
coming back.
It's good being back. It's quite, yeah, it's good. Listen, guys, whatever is going on in your life, it is just so important to talk. Even if it's like this, not even if it's like this because you're my brother, but it's just so important to talk. The amount of talking I've done in the last couple of weeks has saved me up there, you know, in my head. So please talk.
Nice.